Starting with Sun Salutation A, inhale and reach for the sky, forward fold reaching for the ground. Inhale, lift your head and step back for a slow push-up or chaturanga. Inhale, lift your chest into up dog, and exhale, pressing back into downward dog, holding here. Your head and step forward, inhaling, lifting your chest. Exhale, forward fold, and inhale, reaching your hands to the sky. Exhale, bringing your hands to your side and repeating. Inhaling, lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, lift your head and chest and step back for another chaturanga or slow push-up. Inhale for up dog. And exhale back to downward dog. Taking this moment to establish your breathing for your practice. Nice, long breaths. Lift your head and step forward. Inhale, lifting your head and chest. Exhale, forward fold. And inhaling, reaching high. Bringing your hands now back to your side. Again, lift and fold. Lift your head and chest. And now step back into chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward dog. Stepping forward, exhale, folding down, inhale, lifting your hands to the sky, and exhale, hands to your side. Inhale, lift, exhale, fold, lifting your head and chest, stepping back into our chaturanga again, up dog, and pressing back into your downward dog. You've got this. Stepping forward on an inhale, lifting your head and chest. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reaching hands to sky and bringing your hands down to your side. We're going to move into Warrior 2 now. A big step back. Sinking down, lifting your arms so that both of your hands are shoulder height. And then looking over the middle finger on your lead hand. Holding here. Now start bringing your elbow down towards your knee. We're going to move into side angle, reaching from your fingertips, pressing all the way down to the length of your body into the edge of your foot, feeling that length in your side body. To Warrior 2 for a moment, straightening the front leg and bending forward, taking triangle. You can bring your hand onto your shin, your ankle, or onto your mat or the ground beside you. Slightly turning your chest towards the sky. Coming of that and stepping to the front of your mat. Let's repeat on the other side. Nice big step back for your warrior two, bending your lead leg, lifting your arms, and looking over your middle finger. Feeling strong here. Strong in your back leg, strong in your front leg, engaged in your core. Moving into side angle, elbow to knee, and reaching overhead. Just like on the other side, right from the edge of our foot out through our fingertips. Coming up into warrior two for a moment and setting up triangles, straightening our front leg and starting to tilt forward, bringing our hand to where we can, either our knee, shin, ankle, or onto the ground. Come up out of that pose and step to the front of our mat, taking mountain pose, rolling our shoulders back, feeling like we have a zipper zipping up the front of our body from our ankles to our hips, and then pressing down in our back body from our butt to our heels, bringing our ears over our shoulders, feeling long right through the crown of our head. Perfect posture. Let's move into chair pose, dropping our bum down, lifting our arms up so our biceps are by our ears. Tucking the tailbone slightly to feel long in your spine and not arched in your spine. Holding here, strong legs. Tiptoe chair is optional. If you want to try holding this pose, you come up onto your tiptoes. Otherwise, maintain your chair pose for our leg strength. Nice long breath. Lowering down, placing your hand on one of your knees and stepping back for warrior one. Your back foot is turned at about a 30 to 45 degree angle, sinking down in your front knee, arms lifted. Straightening our front leg, we're moving into intense side stretch. You can clasp your elbows behind your back, take reverse prayer behind your back, or reach your hands down towards the ground if you feel vulnerable, folding forward with your hands behind your back. Coming up out of that pose, we're going to lower down, bringing our back knee onto the mat, interlacing our fingers, leaving just one exposed, taking crescent. You lift your chest first before you start to tilt back slightly. Perfect. Coming forward, hands to the mat, and stepping forward into mountain pose. Getting ready for warrior one on the other side, stepping back with your other foot. Perfect. Lifting your arms, sinking down into that front knee. Let's lower our arms and straighten our front leg, taking intense side stretch pose. Once again, you can bring your hands behind your back and clasp your elbows or take reverse prayer. Or as you fold forward, let your fingertips come towards the ground if you're more comfortable there. Remembering to draw your hip back on your lead leg and press your hip forward on your back leg to keep your hips nice and square in this pose. Let's come up out of that, lowering our back knee down onto our mat to prepare for crescent lunge. Hands together, lifting our chest and then tilting back. Perfect. Coming forward and bringing our hands to the mat, stepping our back foot forward, and lifting up into mountain pose. Turning to the side of our mat, we're going to take a nice wide stance. We're going to do a wide leg forward fold. Bringing your hands down to your mat. Pressing your sit bones up towards the sky and feeling long through your spine. Let's inhale and lift our head and to bring our hands to our hips, come all the way up. We're going to drop our bum down into a wide squat and take goddess pose. You may need to bring your heel toe your feet closer to your body. Lift your arms up to 90-degree angles at the elbows. Feel strong here. Keeping that butt back so your knees don't drift in front of your toes. Straightening the legs to come up out of that pose. Taking another forward fold. You can bring your hands to the mat again, or you can interlace your fingers behind your back to incorporate a chest stretch. Holding here. Inhale, coming up out of that. We're going to take revolved goddess this time, so getting into your nice wide squat again, then dropping one shoulder down to the center and looking up over the other shoulder. Coming to center and switching sides. Straighten your legs to standing and stepping to the front of your mat. From here, let's inhale, lifting our hands up, and exhale, bending forward for a forward fold, holding this time. Let's lift our head and chest and step our feet back, preparing for a push-up. This one will be slower than our previous ones. On the count of 5, we'll lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Lifting your chest up into up dog and holding here. Perfect. Lowering down, pressing back through tabletop, coming into child's pose, bringing your bum towards your heels and extending out through your arms. Let's come up to tabletop and prepare for lateral incline plane. Keeping one hand and bent knee on the ground, extending your top leg and reaching your top arm for the sky. It's more challenging if you keep your knee and foot in line on the bent leg, and it's easier if you turn your foot out to the side. So choose what's challenging for you. From here, let's extend out the bottom leg and take side plank. If this is hard on your wrist, feel free to come down onto your elbow. Let's bring our hand to the mat and press up into downward dog. Moving back to tabletop and setting up for lateral incline plane on the other side, extending our top leg and reaching our hand for the sky. Straightening our bottom leg, coming into a side plank, and once again, if you prefer, coming down onto your elbow for this pose. Feeling strong. Now lowering the hand to the mat and coming into downward dog. Pressing back into child's pose. Coming back up into tabletop position. Pressing up into downward dog. Forward for a regular plank. Building strength. Once again, a plank can be taken from the elbows if this is hard on your wrist. And pressing back to downward dog. You can also choose to lower down into child's pose here if you prefer. Bringing your weight forward for another plank. Down to the mat, and now sitting back into child's pose. tabletop and then lifting into downward dog. You can take one-legged downward dog here as a variation or regular downward dog. Coming forward for another plank, you can choose this one-legged plank shown here or a regular plank like we had just done. The one-legged plank, we're drawing our knee forward and pulling it up into our chest. Press back to your downward dog or one-legged downward dog here. Lowering the leg down if it was lifted. And now switching sides if you're choosing this variation. Let's come forward into our next plank, either our regular plank or our one-legged plank. Strong here, we're almost done with this. Pressing back to your downward dog. And lowering the leg if it was lifted. Dropping to your knees and coming into child's pose. We're all done those planks. Let's come up into tabletop and get ready for our hip openers. Stepping one foot outside of the same hand, we're taking low lunge. Similar to crescent, except we're going to keep our hands on the mat. Next, we're going to move into pigeon. Let's curl our toes under on the back foot. And on our lead foot, we'll scooch it through bent leg in front of our body. Level 1 is to keep your heel right underneath your pelvic bone. And if you're more open than that, then you can start to move your foot further away from the body, keeping your foot flexed. You shouldn't feel any tension in the knee. If you feel tension in your knee, that means that your hip isn't open enough for the position you chose, and you need to bring your foot closer to your body or lift your weight onto your hands. Moving into a lying pigeon, stacking our forearms and gently placing our forehead onto our arms. This is optional. Feel free to stay in an upright pigeon position if you prefer. If you took the lying pigeon, let's lift our head and chest here. Bring your weight onto the hip on your front leg and swing your back leg around and over the bent leg. We're going to take a twist here. I want you to have both of your sit bones on the mat before you twist. If you can't get both sit bones on the mat, then I want you to straighten the bottom leg and then twist. Sitting tall, turning chest towards the knee. Nice long breath. On each inhale, feel like you're getting longer through the crown of your head, and on each exhale, go a little deeper into your twist. From here, we're going to straighten out our bottom leg. If it was bent, I'm going to take a figure 4 position, letting our bent knee drop out to the side. And now reaching our one hand back and trying to clasp our fingers behind our back for our arms. If that's not possible, then grab the elbow above the head. And we'll take this cow face modification, folding forward. bottoms of our feet together for butterfly. If you're tight in this area, start by putting your hands behind your hips. If you feel an opening in your groin when you're in this nice, tall, postural position, then stay there. But if you truly do need more, then grab your feet and start to bend forward. Out of that pose. Rolling forward, back into tabletop. Let's take a push up here, slowly lowering down, lifting up into up dog, and now pressing back to downward dog. To your mat for tabletop, and let's repeat the cycle on the other side. So stepping your other leg forward, coming into low lunge. Lifting your back knee up off the mat, moving into pigeon, bringing the bent leg in front underneath you, and remembering keeping that heel as close to the body as you need, depending on how open you are in your hip. Nice tall posture to start, a proud pigeon. If you like, you can move forward, stacking your forearms into lying pigeon, or you can choose to remain in the upright position. If you chose the lying pose, then come up right here, swinging the back leg around and over, trying to place both of your sit bones on the mat, and then taking a twist. If both of your sit bones don't come to the mat, then straighten out the bottom leg. Nice and tall before we twist. Coming out of our twist, and now everybody straighten out the bottom leg, and we're going to move into the cow face modification. So bringing our legs into the figure 4 position, lifting one arm up and trying to clasp our fingers behind our back, and if that's not available, then we'll support on the elbow, getting tall and then folding forward. Coming up out of this posture, releasing our arms to our side and straightening out our legs. Moving into reverse tabletop. Hands underneath our shoulders and ankles right below your knees, pressing your hips up towards the sky. You'll feel the opening across your chest and the strength building in your back. And if you have the openness and strength available, you can step into this inclined plane pose. They serve the same purpose, so don't rush getting into inclined plane if you're not ready. Reverse tabletop is a fabulous posture. Bringing your bum down. And we're going to take a forward fold to counter that pose. Coming up out of your forward fold, we're now going to lower onto our backs, bending our knees. Straighten one leg, and then draw the bent knee across your body, taking a reclined twist. I have my right knee coming across, right arm extended, and now looking over my right shoulder towards my right fingertips. Try to keep both of your shoulders on the mat. Release the knee. Now straighten the leg. Bend the other knee. So this time I have my left knee coming across my body, and I'm looking over my left shoulder. Let's come out of that twist. We're going to move towards happy babies. We're going to grab the outsides of both of our feet. Start drawing your knees towards your armpits and your toes back, trying to work towards having a 90-degree angle in your knees. And once you've done all of that, think about rolling your tailbone back down onto the mat, getting a nice deep stretch here. Release the feet back down onto the mat, and we're going to prepare for bridge pose. Placing your hands by your side and pressing your hips up towards the sky. Holding here, remaining long in your neck and keeping space between your chin and your chest. Lowering down. Hugging your knees into your chest as our counter pose. And we're going to take 2 more bridges. We have the option of taking a one-legged bridge for our next variations, or do a regular bridge just like we did. If you want the one-legged variation, Extend your right leg now and then press your hips up into bridge just like you did previously. Otherwise, lift straight into bridge, keeping both of your feet on the mat. Lowering down and bringing your knees into your chest, giving them a good squeeze. One more bridge. These are our final postures before we take our rest. So let's bring our feet down onto the mat. If you want one-legged bridge, extend your leg now and press your hips up towards the sky. Let's lower our bum back down onto the mat, bringing our feet down and hugging our knees into our chest. Releasing our legs, coming into Shavasana. So finding a comfortable position on our back. Feet a little bit wider than hip width. Hands just falling naturally away from our side. Let's try to think about relaxing from our feet to our head as we enter our Shavasana, starting with your ankles, letting your feet fall open to the side, relaxing in your calves and in your quads. And then really taking a deep breath here and exhaling, letting your hips sink right down into your mat. Let's do the same with our chest, taking a big breath in and then exhaling, letting our chest and shoulders melt down into the ground. Feel light in your throat. Release any tension you have in your jaw. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth and feel soft in your cheeks. Finally, let's release any tension we're holding in our forehead. Take one more deep breath in, and on this big exhale, sink fully into your Shavasana and enjoy. Let's gently start coming out of our Shavasana by taking a few nice deep breaths. A big inhale and a big exhale. A big inhale and a big exhale. And when you're ready, roll to one side and slowly press yourself up into a seated position. We'll bring our hands to heart center. And bow forward and say Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this yoga practice. I hope you enjoyed it.